What's happening? Smith here from Pepsi Maxcast. I've been given the lucky job of getting under the skin of our curators. So in a minute, first up is going to be Tom Clarke from the Enemy. He's going to be sitting here in a few minutes' time and we're going to have a nice little chat. So let's do this. Cool, so I'm here with Tom Clarke from the Enemy. We're in a pub, nice and casual.
Defect as well, I quite like it as well. Proper little boozer.
It's alright, it's got a bit of character.
Middle of Shabu, it's alright. It's a nice little oasis in the middle of a busy Shabu, isn't it?
Nice, I like it. Let's start right at the beginning. Let's talk about the background of the Enemy. Who are they? Where do they come from? What's the sort of angle of music they're looking to put out to people out there?
Just three normal, fairly, just normal lads like Liam and Andy. Both grew up in Cov, Eastern Green and Kersley, respectively, and I grew up in Birmingham, moved to Cov when I was about 16, and then we met. The band started with a bit of just a conversation in a pub. We used to go down the same boozer every night and spend all our wages there, stagger home, wake up, go to work, do the same thing again. So it was the band started because we wanted something different to do.
And when you did form, how did you come up with the name, the Enemy? Where did that come
We were driving to get a pizza in on this Fiesta, and I was having no part of it because it's totally ridiculous. I think me, Liam and Andy, we were best mates before, and we used to go drinking all the time. We go out. It's like, look, we don't have a collective name for us when we go for a drink. Why do we need a collective name when we make tunes? And Andy pointed out that whilst I did hold a good point, every band in history has had a name, and so we would need one. So I opted out, and Andy just went, "What about the Enemy?" I just went, "That's fine. What are you having on your pizza?" And that was the conversation.
Cool. And you've grown up in Coventry pretty much since 16 years.
Yeah.
You moved there. Is there sort of did you do gigging and stuff like that? Did you meet other bands, sort of unsigned bands?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, me and Liam used to jam, sort of just stuff before the Enemy, just going about in little boozers in Cov, and we jammed a bit, and you meet a lot of bands doing that. And then when the Enemy formed, I think a lot of people got on board really quick. We went. The first ever gig we played was in a place called the Coliseum. It's called the Casbah now, but we played there to about 40 people in a room that holds probably about 400, and we sort of did that, got through the first gig, and then we went, right, let's just go and play boozers again because we like doing that. And we went down a pub called the Hope and Anchor that's shut down now, and we played there to probably 10 people the first week, went back a week later and played to about 30 people, and then the week after that there was about 100 people in there, and then by the fourth one there were people queuing around the outside, couldn't get in. Bonehead from Oasis came down, and it's like, what's going on here? Something's happening, and it felt like it had...
Was that when you first felt that you was onto something?
Yeah, well, you could just feel the momentum going, and you sort of going, oh, this is taking off, and we couldn't believe it because we'd just gone to write tunes for our own, to vent a bit of frustration, and we're like, people are loving this. I remember the last gig we played at the Hope and Anchor. There were that many people in there. The PA wires were just across the floor, and people dancing ripped the wires out with their feet. So there's no PA, so they can't hear us singing. And I thought, what are we going to do? And then I realised that the crowd was singing it anyway, and it didn't matter. And that's when I thought, wow, yeah. People know the band, and they know the music. Yeah. Right. At that point we were buzzing at that point. And that's when people started talking to us about record deal.
In terms of the Enemy themselves, who else should we be listening to? In terms of what unsigned, do you look out for unsigned bands?
Yeah, there's a lot of great unsigned bands. There's a band that we're taking on tour on our November tour from around Coventry called Akeel. And they're top lads, and we played them before quite a bit, and we supported them in the early days, and they've done us a load of favours, so we're getting them out on the November tour just because they're a great band and people should hear them. So if you're coming down to the November tour, make sure you catch the support bands as well.
Recently you toured with Oasis.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's the best tour I've done.
Yeah.
It was more chilled out than I thought. I thought it might have a bit of trouble keeping up, to be honest with you. Oasis and Kasabian. I thought it was going to be a pretty rock and roll tour, and it was in all the right ways. And but it was a nice, relaxed, easy tour to do as well. I think it's nice when you go on tour with a band and they make you feel welcome. And they include you, and we certainly felt welcome on the Oasis tour.
You look up to Oasis and that sort of
Yeah, totally. Of course, they're both the joint godfather of rock and roll in India, aren't they? They're probably, they're probably, for a lot of people, the greatest band in the world. It's really sort of strange with the way it is at the minute. Obviously, when I heard they'd split, I was a bit gutted, you know, and because they have, you know, they've got a catalogue of amazing albums. They've achieved so much, and I said the other day, you know, that in the face of everything that they've achieved, you know, they've been one of the biggest bands in the world for decades now. It's amazing to see that they haven't changed a bit, and I think that's actually the most impressive achievement out of all of it. Is you can talk to, you can talk to either of them, and they're both normal blokes, and that's impressive because, you know, most bands have one album out, start wearing white jeans and turn into a cunt, don't they?
More recently as well, FIFA 10.
Yeah.
Be Somebody.
Yeah.
What's Be Somebody about? What are you trying to get across there? Is that a football song, is it, or is it?
It's two things really. It's sort of a sequel to XTC's Making Plans for Nigel. You know, it's the same sort of, it's a reference to the same Nigel in that song. A bit of crime happening there, and it's sort of that, but I think it's more uplifting as well. You know, it's sort of just going, you know, you can just do whatever you want, and I think it's perfect for the game because it's, you know, we were obviously saying in the context of music, you know, look, we're just normal lads who, you know, went into a rehearsal room one night a week, wrote some tunes. You can do it. You can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. You know, but I think it applies to football as well in that, you know, most successful footballers are just people who had a talent at a young age and chased their dream and went, I can do this and I'm gonna, you know, and it's quite apt. It fits pretty well. Dead chuffed as well, just playing away and then your own song comes on. It's pretty good, especially if you just scored.
We're going to attempt to get to know you a little bit better now with a few quick fire.
You're not going to touch me up, are you?
Of course not. No, I wouldn't do that. No. It's just a couple of quick fire questions. So just answer what you prefer. Actually, so let's go. Ready? Baths or showers?
Baths.
Blondes or brunettes?
Brunettes.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Chinese or Indian?
Indian.
Oasis or Blur?
Oasis.
Obviously. Love or money?
Love.
Pirates or ninjas?
Oh, ninjas.
Xbox or PlayStation?
Oh, Xbox.
And then the last one, as I'm here, with Pepsi. Is it Coke or Pepsi?
The thing with Coke or Pepsi, do you know that Coke tried to change the taste because there was a taste test in the 80s, I think, 60s or 80s?
Really?
Yeah, and Pepsi came out tasting better. Everyone said that Pepsi tasted better, and I think it does.
Yeah.
And then Coke changed the taste and there was uproar because they made it even worse. and then they had to publicly apologise. The government made them publicly apologise in America.
Yeah.
And change the taste back. So Pepsi is actually better, I'm pretty sure. There's been a survey done. It's a bit dated now, but do another one.
Yeah, well, there you go. Heard it from Tom yourself, Pepsi's better. So, thanks for your time.
That's all right.
And,
good to chat.
Yeah, good luck with the future.
Nice one, sir.